Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Globe Guide Podcast. I'm actually on time posting an episode today, so that's a win for me. It's February. It's been a while. Actually, no, it's been a week, but yeah. So this is the month of hearts and flowers and pink, which is my favorite color actually. So I do like February, and I just did my nails for it, like Valentine's Day themed, and it's going. It's going. But this is the month of love, and what I wanted to talk about today is self love because love doesn't always have to come from other people. Sometimes the love that you really and truly need is self love. So that's why I wanted to talk about that today. Um, I think that self love is such an important topic, and it's something that really doesn't get talked about enough because there's so many myths and such surrounding it. But it really should be talked about more because it is a very pressing issue. Self love is what builds confidence. It builds the relationship that you have with yourself, and it really shows in who you are. It shows in the way you walk and talk and even act. Like it shines through. So you want to have a good relationship with yourself because it really and truly matters, and that's why self love is just so important. So now let's do one thing we're grateful for, one thing we're happy about, and our book of the week. And yeah, so one thing I'm grateful for, and this is kind of random, also inspired by some like essays and stuff I've been writing, is having the access to a good education because that's something today not a lot of people have access to, and that's something that 100 years ago or like 200 years ago, especially women, because I'm a teenage girl, right? They were told to stay at home and like care for children and cook and stuff, and I can actually go out and get an education and make real impact. Education really is truly valuable despite me always complaining to go to school, but it really is one of the most powerful tools someone can equip themselves with for success, and I'm really grateful that I have that. Okay, so one thing I'm happy about. Well, this is also technically something I'm happy and sad about, but winter track ended. I guess it's a good thing because I'm not gonna be not gonna have to be like freezing my ass off in cold. And also, we didn't really have like a last week of track because everything was snowed in, so we couldn't really practice. Last week we didn't practice for the first 2 days, and then on Wednesday we didn't really do much. At some point, like, Web sprinters were having like a freaking snowball fight, so that's just so great. And then Thursday we had practice, kind of. Again, didn't really do much, but now track's over, and honestly, I feel like it's perfect timing because I have a lot going on in terms of like schoolwork this week or this coming week, so that's a plus for me, thankfully. And then book of the week, still don't have one because, gosh, when was the last time I picked up a book? I don't even know. I really need to get back on track with reading, but there's a lot of stuff I need to get back on track with, and I haven't really done any of that. But yeah, okay, moving on. So to like start our episode, I wanted to start by sharing like a personal story or like my personal experience with like self love, self acceptance. It's something I used to really struggle with, and it's something I still do struggle with, but also a lot less. And honestly, I feel like it's something that we all struggle with, at least like in our day-to-day lives, or at least at some points in our life, because no one's perfect. We all have very likely gone through a point in our lives where we hated ourselves so much to the point where it like physically hurt, to the point where it took over everything. And honestly, that just really really sucks. Like, it sucks to hate yourself so much that you can't even stand to see yourself in the mirror. But like, I know what that's like, and like I said, it's just sad. Honestly, it just makes me sad thinking about it. But that's why I wanted to talk about this because it's such an important topic. And like, I used to be so hard on myself for no reason. Like, I would beat myself up over my grades, over my clothes, my body, literally everything. And like, it really sucked. It hurt. It wasn't helping me, and I hated it, and I hated myself for it. But over time, like years later, self love journey is a long process, and it's a process that most of us will likely be going through our entire lives. But it's just about doing so day by day, bit by bit, and improving slow. It's like most good things in life are all about small efforts compounding, and like it's about those 1% improvements that will really help you heal. Um, but yeah, I've slowly learned to like accept myself for who I am and to not beat myself up, and I'm still learning to overcome that, but I've come a long way and I'm very proud of that. Okay, so let's start. What is self-love? So that might be the first question you're asking. Self-love is obviously when you love yourself. It's when you treat yourself with the care and respect that you deserve. Is when you treat yourself with the care, love, respect, and understanding that you would treat anyone else in your life with. It's not selfish or narcissistic because that like extreme. Um, Self-love is just about choosing yourself, caring for yourself to make you a better person. Okay, so now let's talk about the importance of the relationship you have with yourself. The relationship you have with yourself is probably the most important one you will ever have in your life. And if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, that will really show in the relationships you have with other people and your interactions with other people. It's like a cup. You can't put anything into anyone else's cup if there's nothing in your cup to begin with. Self love is how that cup fills and overflows, and that overflow goes into improving ourselves and improving our relationships. And when you love yourself, it's a tiny way you make the world a little bit of a better place. Case in point, to build a good relationship with others, you need a good relationship with yourself. And how does that relationship with yourself start? It starts with self-love. Self-love is the foundation of who we are, and it really shows through. Self-love, it brings confidence. It brings all those good things. It brings out who you are. Confidence is visible in the way that you walk, in the way that you talk, in the way that you act. It shows everywhere. If you want to be that kind of like magnetic, shining person that's unafraid to take up space, you have to be confident. And confidence is also something that stems from self love. So far, everything we've talked about stems from self love. That's a pattern that you see, no? Okay. So next thing I want to talk about is debunking like common myths about self love. Um, Self love is and isn't actually isn't and never will be about perfection. It's actually quite the opposite. It's about embracing and loving those imperfections about yourself. Those things you view as imperfections, no matter what they are what make you unique. After all, if you're perfect, you're not human, and if you're human, you aren't perfect. I'm pretty sure it's the other way around, but that's not important. You get the point. I would hope that we are all human, and I understand how perfectionism can really get to people because I've seen it in real life. But eventually, being perfect or trying to do so gets exhausting. Your energy is valuable and deserves to be treated as such. Self love has to be deserved is another common myth. Some people think you have to like do something great or be a certain way or like achieve this or do that to love yourself. They think it's conditional, but the point is it's unconditional. It's choosing to love yourself no matter what. It's choosing yourself no matter what. It couldn't be further from the truth. That couldn't be further from the truth. So the opposite is actually quite true. Countless people they begin their self-love journeys from rock bottom. If you've ever seen like any sort of self-help book or anything, oftentimes it's about people rebuilding from hitting rock bottom, and a big part of that rebuilding starts with self-love. Self-love is how you build yourself back up. It's how you build yourself to begin with. It carries you through the ups and downs of life, and it doesn't have to be deserved. You already deserve it just as you are. Another common myth is that self-love is selfish. Again, that couldn't be further from the truth. Um, it doesn't have to be like it's not about being selfish. If anything, caring for yourself allows you to care for others better. When you're stressed, oftentimes all you want to do is scream at everyone who has so much as even breathes wrong at you. Same thing when you're sad or angry or something like that, because feelings are kind of like contagious. But when you feel happy, you also tend to spread that to others. When you feel joyous, you tend to spread that to others. When you're celebrating your success, that also tends to others. So it's about that like spreading. We all have that one person in our lives who is just so happy and so full of joy. You just can't help but feel happy around them. You just can't help but feel their happiness too. It's like contagious. Self love is also like that. It's not selfish. It's the total opposite. Again, with the cup thing, you have to have something in your own cup in order to fill someone else's cup. So self love is actually quite the opposite of being selfish. Okay, now let's talk about some signs of like lacking self-love. One of the big red like warning flashing signs is always being so hard on yourself, always beating yourself up for minor tiny things, but that's not the way to self-love. Constantly just beating yourself up for no reason and like trying to strive for what you think is like perfection, quote unquote, that's only going to make you feel worse and worse and worse until you're just drained. You're just so drained you can't even do anything about it, and you're just like, I literally can't. And it sucks too. Like if you truly loved yourself, you wouldn't put yourself through that pain. Another big one is ignoring your own needs. This connects back to the selfish thing. It's not selfish to ignore your own needs. putting other people first all the time is eventually going to burn you out. You have to give something to yourself in order to have anything to give others. Like if you keep saying yes to events and stuff even when you're tired, like eventually you're going to burn out because you're just like, I can't keep up with this. It's not selfish to say no to something just because you need a break. Choosing yourself is actually in turn going to make it better, because the next time you show up, you're going to feel a lot more energized and you're going to be able to give more to the people you care about. Choosing to prioritize your own needs will help you feel happier and more capable too, so just keep that in mind. The next one is comparison trap. Comparison really sucks. There's actually so much more I could say for that. I actually think I have an episode on comparison, so you should go listen to that because it's a very helpful episode, and I think I did pretty good on that episode. So if that is an episode, which I'm pretty sure it is, go listen to that because that will teach you a lot more about like comparison and how you can reduce it and like how you can improve your life by, like banning comparison. But anyway, comparison is just something that like traps you. It's an endless cycle, and it's a cycle that will only continue make yourself feel worse and worse and worse about yourself. Social media and media in general is a big part. Media is like everywhere these days. It's in the books we read, the shows we watch, like social media itself, ads like billboards and all that, magazines. Media is everywhere these days, and honestly, that might not be the best thing. Media in general, it shows us to only see the highlights, to only prioritize the highlights of life, of anything really, and it doesn't show you anything about the bad days or the stress or the tears. It doesn't show you anything about the other very real side of life. It only shows you the pretty perfect parts. But the bad parts, those are all normal parts of daily life. We're all human. But I guess it seems the media doesn't want you to think so. Noticing these patterns instead of ignoring them or judging yourself for them is a first step in starting your journey to self love. Admitting that you could like improve on being nicer to yourself isn't like a sign of weakness, it isn't a sign of defeat. It's the first step in starting. Okay, so now I want to talk about how to build self love because obviously that's a big part. If you're like, I feel like that's the next question you guys might be asking. Okay, so journaling is a really big thing. Journaling is one of those habits that seems to really help a lot of people, and it's like all over social media and all that. I did try to get into it, but the habit just never stuck, so I kind of like gave up. Honestly, it's not like I have time for it anymore, anyways. But it does really help a lot of people, and it is recommended by like doctors and stuff. It can help with like your mental health too. Journaling is one of those like big life changing habits that can really like help you through tough times. But if you do journal or like that's something you do, something you're interested in, a good practice can be writing down 3 things you like about yourself every day. It's a really small thing, and it sounds so easy, but it can really help. A lot of good things in life are achieved through small efforts compounding on each other. You can like use prompts to use your journals to celebrate your successes, to celebrate your strengths, to acknowledge the good things about yourself if saying so verbally, like through affirmations, just isn't your thing. Like writing is a lot of people's thing. So use that to your advantage. Another big thing is affirmations. I really love this one. It's a lot easier than journaling, at least for me. I mean, it's easy once you like get used to it and like develop the practice of affirmations, like saying nice things to yourself feels weird at first. It honestly is kind of weird, but eventually you get used to it, and the affirmations, they give you a confidence that really really shows. Eventually it just gets easier if you keep up the habit. Sometimes the points where you just really want to quit are the times when you should push yourself even harder. Just keep that in mind. Another thing you can do is tell yourself in the mirror one thing you like about yourself every night before you go to bed. Do that every day, and it works so well. It can be anything, whether it's something you can see or not. Anything about yourself that you like, that counts. Self care rituals are really good too. Small things like reading a chapter before bed, or taking a walk, or maybe listening to some music, taking a short nap too. That's an example of like self-care rituals. All of that is good. It doesn't have to be big. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on spa days and flowers. It's just the tiny things that bring you joy that are good enough. You can do that spa day and buy yourself flowers every once in a while if you wish, or just read books. Just do what makes you happy because it's your time anyways. Another big one is celebrating those small wins. The small wins matter too. You might only feel like only the super big achievements that are like a big deal, like you got a promotion or you moved or something. I don't know, anything. you might only feel like those are the things you should celebrate, but that's not true, because when you celebrate the small things in your life, you're bringing more celebration into your daily life. And we always want to celebrate more because celebration is great. Celebration's amazing, and I think we should do more of it. So I remember this was last Thursday. I was absolutely dying after running hardly 20 minutes at an 11.5 minute mile pace, which is terrible. Um, but that was also the first time I ran in 2 weeks because everything was snowed in, so like I couldn't run. And I only stopped twice in those 20 minutes. So in my opinion, that was an achievement. Instead of beating myself up about it, I chose to be happy and consider it something to celebrate because hey, a lot of people can't even run. Like what was that? 2 miles, I think. I ran pretty close to 2 miles, and a lot of people they can barely run for like I know a lot of people tell me I'm insane for doing track. They're like, "How do you run like that?" Especially because they do distance, right? And they're like, "How do you run for so long?" Or I'll tell them, "Oh yeah, I ran like 5 miles," and they're like, "How?" I run for like 2 seconds and I get tired, and I'm like, "See, I can do something a lot of people can't. I have something special about myself that I can celebrate." So that was an achievement for me. Celebrate all the wins, big or small, because it will really make you feel more accomplished and better about yourself. Another thing is to learn to forgive yourself. Mistakes don't make you a failure. Screwing up doesn't make you a failure, because mistakes are how we learn, how we grow, and they're just a part of life. Like if your best friend were to epically screw something up, sure you might be sad or mad about it for a while, but eventually you forgive. Learn to forgive yourself too. We all make mistakes, and that's fine. It's how we grow and learn and adapt. So when you mess up, instead of beating yourself up over nothing, just forgive yourself. Learn from the experience and grow, because that's how it's done. Self love is also a big part of mental health, and it isn't just like a feel good idea that's like fluffy and pink, like it's on Pinterest sometimes. It has real mental health benefits because when you love yourself, you reduce stress and anxiety, you build resilience to challenges, and you improve your confidence and emotional stability. And here's an important thing, like seeking help. Therapy, that's an act of self love. It's not admitting defeat, and it's like saying that you care about yourself enough to go out and get support. This is honestly something I really struggle with, not in like a mental health sense, but like asking for help in general. Like all my teachers are always like, they always notice how I never seem to ask for help. And I remember I was filling out my reflection for English. We had to do like a quarter reflection and answer some basic questions and turn them in, right? And one of the questions was, what do you do when you don't understand something? Who do you ask for help? And last time and also this time I answered, I was like, I don't really ask people for help. My teacher was like, you should. Um, because asking, I always hold this. They're always say, everyone in my life says asking for help isn't a bad thing. If anything, it shows that you're stronger than just to struggle in silence, because you're choosing to say that you care about yourself enough to actually go and get help. And honestly, that's something I still can't understand, because I am a very independent person. I like figuring things out on my own. And something I've really been struggling with, like honestly, my entire life, ever since I was a kid, is taking help when needed. Like no matter what, I will just not ask anyone for help. Um, because in my opinion, I'm the one that helps everyone. I'm honestly the person that helps all my friends with stuff, right? Like I'll review their essays, I'll review their homework, I'll give them answers. I do all that stuff. And I'm not the kind of person that seems to ask for help. So yeah, but asking for help isn't a weakness, and that's something I really need to like get myself to learn or get myself to understand. Self love truly holds some kind of like transformative, like magical power almost, because all the great people who build themselves back up from absolutely nothing, a lot of that starts from self love. Stems from self love. And honestly, another big part of it is about a choice. I always say that everything is about a choice. This is the choice to love yourself. This is the choice to take on a journey that will make you better than before. This is the choice to make yourself great, choosing to start your self love journey. And honestly, it's about those small things, but those small efforts compounding will make you great. Like, there's no other way to put it. So the journey of self love is truly something that can really change your life, because I know it did the same for me, and I hope it does the same for you. Right now, I know I mentioned this earlier, but I want you all to take a minute and ask yourself, and answer the question, what's one thing you love about yourself today? It can be literally anything. It doesn't matter if it's something that shows or something that doesn't. For me, one thing I love about myself is my hardworking. Like, I'm not my hardworking, that's not an actual sentence, but like my determination. Like, when I want something, I will move heaven and earth to make it happen. And that's something I really admire about myself, because I understand that a lot of people, they don't possess that kind of determination. They don't possess that kind of like mental like toughness to make themselves do the things that they need to do in order to achieve their dreams. But I can do that. Like, I have the ability to do that. When I really want something, I will go out and move heaven and earth. I will do anything to make it happen. So that's something I really admire about myself, and a lot of people tend to admire about me too. So to end off our episode today, I have a quote for you guys from Mandy Hale, and the quote goes, "It's not selfish to love yourself. Take care of yourself and make your happiness a priority. It's necessary." Bye, guys. Rate, review, follow, and share this podcast. Please, please, please go follow me on Instagram at the Glow Up Guide Podcast. Drink some water, and I love you all.